All right, it is fantasy football now. I am Tito Jeff Thidoff. He is Chad Rink. You can follow me on the X at That Happens. He is at Chad Ochorinco. We are on Fantasy Sports, brought to you by DSP Media, and it's that season. I knocked out, I think, 4 drafts today that I had to do for other people. And interesting, they were all different formats. And we can talk about one of these that I thought was interesting. But we got a lot to talk about today, Chad. There's some a running back signed a deal and got back into camp, so we'll talk about that as well. I want to ask you this first because I was drafting for this individual and sent you a question. It was a 12-team league or 10-team league. Let me check. Was it a 10-team league? I think it might have been a 10-team league. And I'm going to find it here now. Just want to make sure. Okay, 10-team league. I had the number 1 overall pick for this person I was drafting for. It's PPR and 6 points for a passing touchdown. And I asked you, I asked the Temple, and I asked the owner of Fantasy Draft Proxies, Nathan Shively, what they would do in that situation. Because I'm sitting there thinking, at 1, with a 6-point passing touchdown, God, Mahomes is so tasty right there. You like Mahomes also. And so this is the first time I did a draft like this under this format this season. So it was kind of got thrown in the fire on it. You said the same thing I thought, go Mahomes, right? The Temple of Doom, good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I it was tough because a full PPR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's either receiver, quarterback. But I was looking at it, and it's just like Mahomes could be the only guy to get 40 touchdown passes this year. He's probably one of the few guys to maybe even get 50.
Yep.
And so I know it's one of those where if you look at the top quarterback to the 12th quarterback, it's not that much different compared to like if you went from wide receiver 1 overall to it would be like 36 if you're playing 3.
Right.
But I just think if you get Mahomes, I assume you take Mahomes, other people may start going quarterback in those first rounds. It's a long time for you to get. I figured you might get some good value, like, I don't know, like some guys like Olave would probably still be there receiver-wise. Mm-hmm. You'll probably get a bump down, like some of these running backs, like Stevenson could still be there. You like, again, if these quarterbacks, if you get Allen and Hurts to go in the first, second round as well, you get a couple guys fall. So that was my thinking. Where if you took Jefferson, all those three quarterbacks would be gone, and you still get Herbert later on. But then you're going 24, 25.
It's 10-team, right? Go 2021.
No, 10-team, 2021. Yeah. But even then, like if you don't get a quarterback there, which if Hurts, Mahomes, Allen are all gone, I wouldn't reach there. By the time it comes back to you in the 4th, 5th, or 4th, 5th round, you could get another 3, 4 guys off the board. So just grab your quarterback and go.
That's the way I thought about it too. And then I talked to Shively about it. And Shively said, if I were you, I would take Jefferson 1. And he said, I think there'll be a Mahomes-ish player in the 2nd round. And I was like, I said, okay, I'm going to do it that way. We're going to see what happens. But I don't think I think you're going to see a big run of quarterbacks. So I take Jefferson number 1. The first quarterback didn't come off the board until 14.
Wow.
I was shocked by that. It gets down to me now at 20 and 21.
Yeah.
And I took Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
And Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. All right.
So now I'm sitting there, I've got these 3. There's still a bunch of quarterbacks left on the board.
Was there only one quarterback taken in the first 2 rounds?
No, I think there was also, I think Allen might have got taken also in there.
I got you.
It was, so it gets down to me in the 4th round. Now I'm sitting at 40 and 41, right?
Burrow there? Yeah.
Yeah, Burrow was there. I took Burrow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I got Burrow there, and then who else did I get? I also took, I think I took Deontay Johnson. I took James Cook is who I took. I took James Cook there at that point. So now I'm sitting there. I've got Burrow, Taylor, Cook, Jefferson, Garrett Wilson. I'm feeling great about things.
Oh, yeah.
So then things keep going on. I ended up grabbing Darren Waller. I got Jahan Dotson, Deontay Johnson, Jordan Addison, all those guys as receivers as well, in addition to Wilson and Jefferson. The running backs after Dillon, I got Antonio Gibson, Devin Singletary. So I got Taylor, Cook, Dillon, Gibson, Singletary. Higbee as a backup tight end. I got Pickett as a backup quarterback. I love this team.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's such a weird one. Like full PPR,
Yeah,
you don't know because I think people sometimes don't look at the 6 point for touchdown
right.
as big, but it's huge.
Yeah,
But the fact that like Burrow is huge in that too because it's just like you just never know. Again, especially you're going against guys you don't know.
right.
You just don't know how the board's going to go. Like I got my low hoop draft a week from today. Like we'll be in the smack dab in the middle of it. We'll probably be at our almost at our halftime because we have 32 rounds with IDP. So I just know in that one we're going to have probably the first 10. It'll probably be 6 running backs probably because that's just the way our league is always going to go running back heavy. But that's a heck of a team, man.
I thought so
Jefferson, Wilson.
Yeah,
and then if Taylor
comes back, and that's why I try to be careful about it. With I wanted to make sure I had. So when I took Dylan, I figured Dylan and Cook. It's not great, obviously, but it's still I think reliable. James Cook and AJ Dillon. That's a good one. If Taylor comes in slow or misses some time, whatever it is. But I got to believe Taylor's going to play somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. He'll play somewhere. Yeah, that's what I think.
You would think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Josh Jacobs, right, gets a deal done. It's slightly more than what he's going to make. It's it's similar to what Barkley did, same kind of thing, right? Just because you can't sign a multi-year deal, you've got to make sure. And I don't know if Jacobs had it worked into his deal where they can't tag him next year. I'm not sure if that was part of the deal or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Jacobs getting to camp though is a huge thing for fantasy and for the Raiders. So how much do you think that moves him up?
Well, he was still kind of going mid, end of second, early third.
Okay.
I thought maybe, especially the Taylor thing, he might start creeping up to the early second. Like I don't know. I thought maybe he might leapfrog Pollard.
Right.
I would think he might go to like early second. You'll see him at the 201 to 205 is my guess. And he could leapfrog Pollard, I think, at some point. I think the news may have been just so fresh.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he's there over Pollard. I still think he's still going to go because he was regularly usually going over Stevenson, Breece Hall, and Henry's an interesting one too. He could go ahead of Henry as well now, where he was kind of falling behind him. So it'll be interesting. I don't think he's going to make a huge jump. He could, like I said, he could slide into first if it's a standard, not a PPR. But even PPR, he's pretty good. So I think he's still in the same spot, probably mid early second is probably his ceiling.
I got a mid third. One of the drafts I did today. Also, I was shocked to get him. He was there with Jonathan Taylor at the same time, and I grabbed Jacobs in this other draft I did. I thought that was the best. Is that what you would have done? Also, Jacobs over Taylor right now.
I think so because it's pretty guaranteed that Jacobs is going to play. I mean, that team is not going to be great, but they weren't really great last year.
Right.
And he does more out of the backfield in the receiving game than Taylor does. And I honestly think Taylor could decide to sit. He may think, listen, I'm 24, sit a year. They're not going to pay me. I can go wherever I want next year with fresh legs.
Right.
So there's always that possibility. So, yeah, I would still take, I think, Jacobs now that he's signed over Taylor.
I think I would as well. We had a trade yesterday in the NFL. And it's really a meaningless trade, other than the fact it just gives us a chance to make fun of the 49ers for how stupid they were.
Right.
But it doesn't really – it's not going to move the needle at all, right? This Trey Lance deal, right? Lance to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick after the 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance, and now they trade him for a 4th-round pick. Dynasty reach, maybe if you want to grab him, if you can stash him, if you like a reserve thing or if you have some kind of thing where you can put a guy like on a rookie league, I don't know what it's called, not reserve, but taxi squad kind of thing.
Right.
But it's going to take a miracle for this guy to be good in the NFL now, isn't it?
It is. Like I saw like there's 2 tweets. I don't think I copied the one, but like Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR, has thrown more passes in his college NFL career, including preseasons, than Trey Lance by like 2 times, like 3 times more
right.
which is crazy. And they came out in the same draft class. They were like in the same draft class coming out of high school.
Oh, same. So there's that, same college class, same
college class. Yeah, going in. Yeah. And then if you look at, I saw today, like if you look at the picks that the Niners, did you see this? Like the picks that the Niners gave up.
Yes.
What the other teams did.
Insane.
One of the picks the Niners gave up to move up to get Trey Lance was the number 12 overall in the 2021 draft. The Niners gave that to Miami, who later sent that to Philly in the move that netted them Jalen Waddle. And then the Eagles jumped up from where they were with that pick with the Cowboys, and they selected Devonta Smith. And then the Cowboys used that pick to take Micah Parsons.
Not bad.
So, not bad at all. So yeah, it doesn't move the needle, because even if something happens with Prescott, you got Cooper Rush there,
right?
So it would take a lot for him to get on the playing field. I just I feel bad for him, because he hasn't really had a whole lot of opportunity. So he's one of those guys we don't know what he could be. So
this isn't like a Johnny Manziel, Jamarcus Russell thing where it's a guy who has got making bad decisions and not putting the work in. It's not like that at all. So that's why I don't. I'd like to see him do well. I would like to see him go somewhere and see what he can do for a year. Like he can run. Yeah. And I think it's going to be good for him sitting behind Prescott, being in that kind of organization. I mean, say what you want about Jerry Jones and stuff. I mean, it's still a good run for the most part organization. Sure.
It's not, it's pretty stable with what they do. So I think it'd be good for him. It's just fantasy wise, like I have him in the one league we have is a dynasty, that we do have a rookie taxi that you can use for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
I'll probably still just kind of keep him because somebody at some point may still like him and I could throw him in the trade or something. But yeah, I would just stay away from him at all costs.
We had the injury in Denver a couple of days ago. Jerry Jeudy was legit carted off.
Yes.
And they said it was a hamstring injury now. And so I don't think that affects my views of Wilson or Sutton that much, because I don't have high expectations for the Broncos offense. Like I don't know if they're losing that much. I know Tim Patrick's already gone. He's out for the year again for like the second straight year, but I'm not sure if it downgrades them that much, because I did not have them up that high. I didn't have them very upgraded in the first place. So
yeah, I didn't either. And none of those guys were like, Jeudy was really the only guy that was going relatively high. I think he was just kind of going in the 5th round,
right,
somewhere in that range. He was really the only guy that was going anywhere near the top 5-6 rounds. So I had some hopes that they may turn things around, but now with Jeudy out, and it's one of those injuries where I'm not touching him at all. You got a hamstring injury on a wide receiver, I'm not touching him. But it was kind of interesting that is Marvin Mims kind of becomes interesting with Patrick out. Jeudy probably going to miss some time. Mims was kind of hyped up coming out of college. He's kind of a speedster, so he kind of becomes interesting. You could probably get him late. I still like Sutton because any wide receiver one on a team that has talent, like take a shot on him, especially if he's still going like 7th, 8th round.
Right. Let's stick with the Broncos for a minute then, because there's talk that they were one of the teams, along with the Bears, the Dolphins, that had inquired about Jonathan Taylor. Now, if I'm a Broncos running back, I don't want to say I'm taking a slap in the face, but that makes you kind of pause for a second, like, wait, I'm Javonte Williams here. I played pretty well last year. I'm busting my ass back from injury. We signed Samaje Perine. You finally got me an offensive coach here, And so I don't know what that says. If that says anything to you about Javonte Williams, the way he's viewed by the Broncos, when you hear news like that, does that change how you view a certain player? Even though the trade might not happen, the fact they're kicking the tires on it, though, does that tell you something about the Broncos running back situation?
It depends. Like each situation can be different. Like for them, I think it's probably more they like Williams. He's still come back off an injury, so they figure let's bring in a quality running back. It's kind of the same thing with like Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. Hey, let's bring a guy in. Let's ease our future back in, so we don't get him injured again, and we can use him going forward. So for that situation, I don't think it really would hurt more Perine, I think, than Williams. I think they'd still kind of split. So, but yeah, it sounds like the Dolphins said, "Yep, we gave a fair offer. I don't think there was a first involved." And
No, they haven't got the first. I mean, everyone's saying that the second rounder is about the most you're going to get.
Yeah. So I like I said, I doubt he gets moved, and then it's just going to see what he does.
Right. I think so too on that one. And that's where I've seen Williams' value all over the place in drafts I've done. You know, I've seen him. I mean, I've seen a range of 2 or 3 rounds apart from where he's going, and I'm not going to overdraft for him. I think he's got a chance to do well, but I'm not going to probably spend the draft capital usually needed to buy Javonte Williams.
I'm with you there. I don't think he's going to get the kind of workload
right
to do that. And I think if you said, hey, you got to take a Denver running back, I think I'd go Perine just because where you can get him.
Yeah,
and he showed he can play well in the passing game, and got to remember he I believe he still has the record for most rushing yards in a college game.
Does he still have that?
He might, because I can't remember. Because didn't Taylor get it? Like someone got it, and I thought Perine got it like that next week. I can't remember what it was. Like either Perine got it, and then the next week someone got it, or somebody got it, and then Perine got it after him. I want to say it might have been Taylor.
Let me take a look here now. I'm going to look at it here. I'm going to see this. What it is?
Yeah, it was back-to-back weeks, and I thought Perine.
You're right.
Got it the second week.
God, you nailed that.
Because he played at Oklahoma.
It wasn't Taylor.
Okay.
It wasn't Taylor that the record he broke. It was a Wisconsin running back though.
I know it wasn't Ron Dane.
It was Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon. Okay.
Perine rushed for 427 against Kansas. But to be fair, back then you or I could probably get a 100-yard game against Kansas. I would think.
Probably. So yeah, I like Perine. He looked when he had the fill in for Mixon last year. He's a quality back. So I think I'd just rather take Perine, because again, if the wheels fall off in Denver, they may shut Williams down late in the year just to keep him healthy.
The top 10: Perine 427, Jarrett Patterson from Buffalo 409, Gordon 408, Tomlinson 406.
Ron Dane up there still?
No, he's not in the top. Tony Sands out of Kansas 396, Marshall Faulk 386, Troy Davis, he always seemed to have a bunch, 378, Anthony Thompson 377, another Matt guy, Travis Prentice at 376. I don't see Dana. I don't think Dana had a big game like that. But
maybe he did. Maybe he has like the top 3 or 5 all-time yards. Maybe.
Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, that's interesting though. But you could pull that. I totally forgot about that one. So,
some stuff I can.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so you brought this up, and I think it's a fair thing that I've just kind of let go when I should have probably called people out on it, though. But sleepers.
Okay.
The term sleepers, right? Like you're done with that. Yeah,
because back in the day when we started, sleeper was a term because you had to do your own research. I know that they don't like us to do our own research on some things, but back in the day we had to, because it was basically no magazines, no internet, or very limited. It was very new.
Yeah, the AOL for 2 hours a month or whatever you got.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we're waiting on the USA Today on Wednesday to get all the stats and stuff. So doing your own research. You had sleepers there because you didn't have these depth charts, and ESPN didn't have the website. So you were really looking, and they were really sleepers. Like certain guys, like Kendrick Miller would probably be a sleeper 20, 25 years ago.
Right.
I saw a guy talking about his sleepers that could be top 10 running backs. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And his 2 sleepers were the aforementioned Javonte Williams, and now I can't remember who the other guy was. But it was a guy that was like, okay, he's like, everyone knows who that guy is.
Right.
And so I think we just use sleepers as people that aren't getting drafted in the top 4 rounds. And we're just throwing that around like, well, no one's sleeping on them. People have heard of them. So I think we need another term. Like, because the only real sleepers are guys like that Andre Eovisai or whatever. He scored another touchdown a day for the Bengals.
Right.
That dude, I'm telling you right here, that dude is going to take Tyler Boyd's job.
There can't be this many sleepers. Like, you're right. There's too many of them because we all have the same information. A lot of us going after.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? Like we all know we can all right now go to a website, and it won't all be the same, but get the top 50 receivers,
Right.
top 50 running backs.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard to find a sleeper
here.
in there. There you go. See right there, you got that. It's
I'm studying for our draft.
right. And you and I do stuff. We do lists and we do rankings and things like that. And so it is really hard to get a sleeper anymore.
Yes.
How do you feel about the phrase napper?
Ooh.
So a napper,
I kind of dig that.
okay, a napper is one of those guys who we all know about, but you get it kind of a sneaky value, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
people have napped on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're waiting around, you fall asleep for an hour,
Right.
cat nap. You just kind of, like, I like that. So that's like the napper. That is
Napper.
a good term. We need to get that, trending and a thing.
You've got to probably last 2 rounds to get a sleeper, probably. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
The guy you take in the 9th round is not a sleeper. He's a napper.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, not a sleeper.
No, not a sleeper.
He's the number 1 running back on his team.
You might get good value on him, and that's fine, but he's not a sleeper.
Yes. No, he's a napper. Like, that's just that you're napping on him because you're letting him slide all that far. I like that napper. We got to get that. We got to get that going.
We got to get napper going. We got to do that. Yeah. All right. Do you have any 80s lyrics for us tonight?
I do. So I'm thinking too, like they have the flag plants. Everyone's got their my guy,
right?
The ride or die if you're a Matthew Berry fan. So I'm thinking we need to have something like that. So we could have the Animotion Obsession guys. So if anyone from the 80s would know, Animotion had a song called Obsession, and the lyrics were, there's part of it, and there's like, I must have you, I've got to have you, I will find you, and I will have you.
Right.
Now that sounds kind of creepy. I'm not talking like in the put the lotion in the basket kind of thing.
Play that when you also play Every Breath You Take by the Police, right back to back.
That's exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So we're talking about guys that you've got to have on your team that you're kind of really seeking out. Okay, this is the round I'm going to take this guy if he's there.
Yeah.
Who's a guy for you?
Yeah. Well, see, for me this year, like I have found myself. And you've pissed me off because I can't take him now in our league. But the Amon-Ra St. Brown is somebody who I look at and say, that's a guy that he is a guy I love. And I was really looking forward to getting him this year and had a great chance in our keeper league. Yeah. But I said it on the air. You heard me talk about how much I love him. And so obviously we went out and made a trade for him to get him so I can't have him.
Exactly. That's exactly why I did it. No, I like him too. He's the guy really. He's one of those guys that I really like. And you probably could have, because you've got 2, 4, 5?
2, 4, and 5 right now, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure one of the 2 and 4, you would have taken a quarterback at one of those, because we've got Allen, Hurts, and Lamar
Jackson out there.
So, you'll get one of those guys. And then, you could have got St. Brown at 4 or 5. That would have been easy. So I don't feel bad about it. But, I love St. Brown. Especially if you can get him in the second, like if you get him at the turn.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen him in the first yet, but he's going now 201, 203 usually. So I like that.
The only time I took him in the first in the drafts I've done is when I've had the 12th pick, which could have been 13. Either way on that one's fine. Yeah, it was on top of you, dicking me over on him. You also are not going to the draft. But that's a whole other subject.
That's a whole story. Yes. Yeah. So one of the guys I like is it's a wide receiver. And usually he's now starting to creep in the 3rd round. Is Calvin Ridley is a guy that I'm really targeting because I think he has that not wide receiver 1 overall, but I think he could end up a wide receiver 1, top 12 wide receiver this year. And, if you can get him in the 3rd round, he's usually going like later 3rd round, mid to late 3rd round. So he's a guy that I really am targeting a lot. I think that Jacksonville offense can be electric. And I saw a stat, that someone tweeted out that there were only like 20 people that had like more than one like goal line target,
right?
Like per game or something like that. I think it was per game. I can't remember. It is a good stat. It was like all wide receivers, a couple running backs, no tight ends, and two of the guys were Jacksonville guys. It was Kirk and it was Zay Jones. So
Zay Jones.
You throw Ridley in there. He's bigger than both those guys.
Right.
I think he can have a huge year. I think people are just napping on him because he missed last year, which fine. But it's not like he's 31. It's not like a Michael Thomas situation. He's still young. And he looks good. So he's a guy I'm really kind of targeting there in the 3rd round.
As far as a running back goes, James Cook is someone who I seem to be eating a lot of, and I've heard nothing but great things about camp from him, and I've seen him going earlier and earlier in drafts as we get closer to the start of the season. But when I want to get a good value on him, like in the 7th round or something like that, if he's there, I'll grab him. I like James Cook a lot this year. The fact, I don't think I doubt they'll get Jonathan Taylor, and most of the work they've had with the first team offense has been James Cook out there with them. So I like him quite a bit. I think he finished really strong last year, and Cook's a guy that I'm absolutely targeting in some of the drafts I'm doing as well.
Yeah, I was kind of, if you go back to our earlier pods, I was really kind of like talking about Damon Harris maybe having a lot of good value, but more and more watching Cook play, he's more electric. And I think the Bills really want him to be a 3-down back. I know today he had a great first series, and then they threw Harris in at the 1. He plunged a touchdown in for the Bills. So it could be something like, Harris could end up having like a Jamal Williams type year, but like Cook, I know he's a smaller guy, but I think he doesn't have any kind of injury history or anything like that. So I like that one because, like you said, you can get him 7th, 8th round. He's starting to slide up a little bit. I did a mock draft today just because I had nothing else to do, and I saw Cook went like the 5th round. It was really weird. James Cook went pretty high in that one. So if you get good value on him, I do like that because the Bills are going to score and they're going to move the ball. So I like that. I do have a running back also. Oh yeah,
if you're doing nothing today, though, why didn't you have your church draft today? But go ahead, that's fine.
I am not running it. So I had stuff. I actually had to clean. I was cleaning up the outside, getting their shed. I had a bunch of stuff just laying around the outside.
It feels to me like it's almost blasphemous to have a draft on a Sunday in a church league. That's all I'm saying. But
it is. It's not during church. It's not during church. Well, here's the thing. That part of the reason why I'm not going to the draft is I think as we start becoming more famous, we're going to end up having to be like president and vice president. Like we cannot be traveling together. We can't be in like
can't be in the same rooms. I got you.
Although having people try to locate the swamp, good luck with that, man.
I didn't know the vice president doesn't stay in the White House.
I was today years old when I found it either. I guess that makes sense.
There's a different house, a different area, a different spot. I don't think it's right there either. I don't think it's like right next to it either. I think it's like a little bit further away. But yeah, they don't. They stay in the garage. Actually, no, they don't. Sound like where they stay, but
like a mother-in-law suite for the vice. But that makes sense though, because they can't travel together.
Right.
So I did not know that. So, and
that's
if I
did, kind of stuff you get in our podcast.
Exactly.
80s lyrics.
In
this.
I apologize to Mr. Poe for Civics if you mentioned that back in like 1987, and I forgot about it. So, but I do have a running back also, another second year guy that I really love. And you can usually get him after Cook is Rachaad White. Now, I know people are scared off because the quarterback situation there, but he has no one really behind him.
Right.
He caught 50 passes last year. Leonard Fournette's gone. Leonard Fournette had the 3rd most receptions by running back last year with like 72, 73.
Amazing.
So, So Rachaad White could end up with 75 receptions. He's built to handle the three down workload. Got a gnat in here or something. So I do like him because you can get him usually 7th round, like where Cook was going, and he could be a workhorse type back because they really don't. Like I said, they have Keyshawn Vaughn, and then they drafted Sean Tucker.
Yep.
So there's really nothing behind him. The only problem is is that offense line good enough? Can Baker or Trask move the ball? But I think with Godwin and Evans, and now I think Otten's kind of getting a little hype.
Yep.
Yeah, like they gotta be honest on the outside. So I think Rachaad White is a guy that you can get really good value on, and I'm really targeting him. He's one of those guys that I almost always try to get.
Yeah. As far as quarterback wise, you guys both are looking at Herbert and Lawrence usually for the value they get. That's been like our 2 guys you and I are consistently getting in drafts, is grabbing those guys when they're out there because we're skipping the first few in a traditional scoring league. We're skipping the first few, let people spend on Fields if they want to, and Lamar Jackson if they want to grab those guys, and Burrow after the big 3. That's fine. I'll gladly take Lawrence or Herbert and all the other guys I can get before I take the quarterback.
Absolutely. Those 2 I think are because they're going off 7th, 8th on the board, and honestly, if one of those guys ended up as a top 3 QB this year, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Herbert's the one guy that I think can kind of push to maybe get 40 touchdown passes if Allen stays healthy. Johnston is a big receiver. Williams is a deep threat. They got Eckler. Dump passes, and they brought in tight end is from
Gerald Everett. Is that what it was?
Yeah, from the Rams. Yeah, Gerald Everett. So he's got all the weapons, and the Chargers hate going for field goals on fourth down if they're inside the 20, and even if they're on the other team's half of the field, they'll go for it. So they have so many opportunities. I think the Chargers are a team that they can. I think Herbert was hurt a little bit last year, and at the end of the year, he just looked really good. And if you just watch him, he's one of those guys that he's like Rodgers, I think, where it's like he can just throw the ball.
Yeah.
In a tight window. He is so good. He's mobile enough too. So, and that's another reason I like him and Lawrence. They're not the runners like the big guys that are going early that aren't Mahomes.
Right.
They can get out and move, and they can get you 40 to 50 yards a lot of weeks just off like broken plays or, a 3rd and 8, everyone's going deep, and then they break it loose, and they can kind of sneak in the end zone to get you 3 to 5 touchdowns. So love those guys. Those are the two guys I really, I look for.
With Herbert too, and I'm not saying he's exactly like this guy, but he's, Roethlisberger, he capable how big he was. He wasn't the most mobile quarterback, but he could certainly get rushing yards. He was hard to bring down, hard to sack, and if he got flushed out of the pocket, he could pick up some yards still. And that's kind of what Herbert is. A little more athletic than Big Ben was, but same kind of philosophy though as far as running the ball goes as a quarterback.
Oh yeah.
All right. This is something. This is where you and I differ. You like to have fun in fantasy football leagues. I don't. And what I mean by that, I enjoy. My fun is always in the competition, and you're a great competitor. Don't be wrong. It's that's what I live for. That's the way I enjoy it. But you are in some leagues where there are themes involved, right? Which I can't get behind. But go ahead.
Yeah. So it's the one league down in Cincinnati, the Low Hoop League. So we've been doing that since 1994, and then starting in 2006. We decided to do themes. So we would just pick a theme, and it's really just your team name is based on that theme. And then a lot of times people will wear shirts or something. My buddy always has music, so if it lays to it that you could get music from stuff, he'll put that in there. So like first year we did with Seinfeld, we all loved Seinfeld. So I was the Rabbit Anti-Dentites for that team name. I've won all 5 of my championships since we did team names. So that's kind of why I think I like theme drafts. So we did Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks. So
that's a good
anytime I can throw my name in there like that. So like, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm not going to bore you out. But like the one best one was like we had the 80s music. I won that one too. I was the Atlanta Falco.
Okay.
And the thing that happens is my buddy and I sometimes get my brother involved. Just once the theme comes up, we spend like the next week and a half just texting each other like 20 different names.
And then,
yeah, we do. And then for the 80s one, I ended up coming up with a 80s theme for each team. So like Chicago was the Chicago Go Bears. Your Steelers were the Christaberg Steelers. My favorite one was the NFC West because I had the Arizona Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Cardinals.
That's a good one.
Billy Ocean. The Los Angeles, it might have been the Banana Rams. It was the Seattle Seahawks like an Egyptian.
Okay.
And then there was the San Francisco UB 49ers. So, but I had one for all the teams, and I love doing that. It just, I love it.
For you with an 80s theme, 80s music, I would have gone George Thorogood.
Oh, yeah.
Chad to the Bone.
Chad to the Bone. See, that was like, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, Chad to the Bone, like, anytime there's bad in it, then
you can do it.
Yeah, we did an Eddie Hare's band. I was Chad Medicine for bad.
Love Rinks.
Love Rinks, exactly.
That's another good one.
So I try to anytime I can use my name. So this year, I have a couple. We're doing a video game theme, and it's gonna be any kind of video game, arcade, PC, whatever. So the 3 top ones are Chadden 94. I picked 94 because it's just weird in this first year we did the draft. I do like DJ Morgan Trail.
Okay.
And then the one I think I'm going to is my buddy sent it to me. I like it's Inky, Blinky, Rinky, and Clyde. So
Pac-Man Ghost, yeah.
Pac-Man Ghost, yeah. So so we're doing that. So again, we've got so many. I actually have I think all but like four of the NFL teams that have video game.
That's outstanding.
So I do enjoy it. So if you do themes, it's kind of fun. You know.
We've got our big draft tomorrow, so we won't be doing a podcast tomorrow. I can promise you that. I've got the radio show and then straight out to the swamp, and I'll be there late. I actually have a 9:00 draft I'm going to do from there for somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think the Temple's got one too. So I think we're gonna be out there pretty late.
That's
And
cool.
then we got our. It'll be tough. We might be able to pull it off Monday though because of it's the Ironman golf that we do where we golf
Oh yeah.
from 8 a.m. till we can start seeing our ball until we can't see it anymore. But if I can get
Yeah.
home in time to do it, we'll do one then though on that one. But
Okay.
any news breaks, Chad or I, one of us will do something with a YouTube short or a quick
Yep.
video. We'll send off to Tim to edit, put out there for us. But that's it for now, man. We're here now. Tomorrow will be this weekend. What I think there's a game. Is there a game Monday or not in the NFL?
Oh, I just had that up. I don't think they're. I don't think they're doing
on
them.
Monday. I'm trying to think. I know this is the last weekend, obviously, until we get into that Chiefs-Lions game. By the way,
No.
NBC is still in a dispute with. It's not. There's no game Monday.
No.
NBC is still in a dispute with AT&T and Ubers and all that. And so, like right now, if you're an AT&T Ubers guy, if you don't have Peacock, you don't get NBC anyway. So, yeah,
so
it's a big
Sunday
deal.
Night game. That sucks.
It's a Thursday night game first. The Thursday night game's NBC,
Okay.
right? And then the Sunday night game will be as well. But Thursday night, though, the season opener will also be there. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's been this edition here of Fantasy Football Now on Fantasy Sports. Chad and I appreciate you spending time. Like, list, subscribe. We're getting great numbers on this. We keep growing every episode. We're getting more and more unique downloads. We appreciate that. And I don't know how many fake emails I've got to create to get the number up more. But no, listen, like, subscribe.
Half of those are my kids. So.
And you've got a lot of kids. Rick, thanks for the time, bro. Let's do it again.
Yep. Talk to you tomorrow.